When I look over the games that I own, it occurs to me that most of my games are either licensed games or games from a pre-existing franchise like Metroid or Kirby. I guess it makes sense. People buy games based on familiar properties because it gives them a preconceived notion that the game will be good. I just had the sudden urge to branch out and try something new. I decided to go onto the Virtual Console and buy a completely random NES game, dive headfirst into a game that I knew absolutely nothing about, and just see what happened. The game that I ended up selecting for my little experiment was Operation Wolf on the NES. So let the experiment get underway. Let's play this sucker. Most NES games show you a cutscene if you leave the title screen alone for a while, so the first thing that I did was let the game sit until the cutscene started up. The game shows you a guy tying his shoe, a guy putting a thing into his chest, a guy putting a thing into his pants, and a guy loading a gun, and then it goes back to the main menu. Apparently that's all the introduction that you need to Operation Wolf. You control some Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque army badass who's sent into a terrorist camp to rescue some hostages. One could raise the perfectly logical question as to why the military send one person to take down an entire terrorist organization, but hell, I'm not in the military. The game is a gallery shooting game where you shoot at terrorists. The level ends when you have destroyed a specified number of foot soldiers, helicopters, and armored tanks. You press the A button to shoot bullets, and you press the B button to fire grenades. It's pretty basic stuff. The game's gimmick is that you've got a very limited supply of ammo. You start the game with 7 magazines, each magazine holds 20 bullets, and 5 grenades. You have to resupply your ammo constantly because, I remind you, there are 6 stages and you have to kill at least 50 foot soldiers and about a dozen vehicles in each level. Just trust me, you have to be very stingy with your ammo, and I mean very stingy. Now I know what you're thinking. A gallery shooting game on the NES? Isn't this the kind of thing that the NES light gun was made for? Well, the original game is compatible with the NES light gun, but for some incredibly stupid reason, the Virtual Console version is not compatible with the Wii Zapper. So, you've got a video game that was tailor-made to be played with the light gun, you're porting it onto a console that has a gun peripheral, and you're not going to let us use the Wii Remote in place of the light gun. That's just stupid, and it's a massive missed opportunity. They even make it a point to say in the instruction manual that you can't use the Wii Zapper with the game, so clearly it crossed somebody's mind at Nintendo. You wouldn't think it would have been that hard to add that to the emulator. They also make it a point to say that you can't use the NES light gun with the Virtual Console version. Did they seriously think that somebody would be that stupid? And you know what's really stupid about this game? If you did play the original game with the light gun, you still had to play the game while holding a regular controller so that you could press the B button to fire grenades. Just imagine what a clustered crap that must have been. Well, anyway, since I can't use the light gun to play this game, I'm stuck playing it with the standard NES controller. It sucked in Universal Studios Theme Park Adventure, and it sucks here too, especially since it's very clear that the game is intended to be played with the gun. When the game starts up, you're given 5 options for how quickly the cursor moves with the controller, so the game does let you customize the controls somewhat. Even so, a lot of the targets that you have to shoot are fairly small and they move constantly, so it takes a lot of practice before you'll be able to hit the enemies with any accuracy. Just look at the screen here for a little while. Enemies come in very quickly. There are at least 3 bad guys on the screen at all times. There is barely a single solitary second of gameplay that you're not shooting at enemies. You just never catch a break, and it makes the game exhausting to play. In addition to shooting enemies, you also have to keep an eye out for items. You burn through ammo deceptively quickly, and you need to hit every resupply icon that you can find, or else you're going to get screwed hard. You also need to keep your eye out for health drinks to replenish your health, because believe me, this game is not generous with its health power-ups. I like how drinking Gatorade heals damage that you've taken from gunshot wounds and grenade explosions. I wonder if they teach you that at mid-school. Probably my biggest problem with the game is the fact that the game never gives you nearly enough grenades. There are several armored vehicles and helicopters in each stage, and their weapons are stronger and fire faster than the weapons wielded by the basic enemies. You can destroy the armored vehicles in one shot with grenades, but you're only given 5 grenades at the start of the game. You'll burn through your grenades before the first level is done, and you'll have to use bullets to shoot down the rest of the armored vehicles. The ground vehicles can be destroyed with just a few bullets, but the helicopters, which you'll run into the most often, takes about a dozen bullets to take down. Even if you do save your grenades only for the helicopters, you'll still burn through your grenades quickly because there are 6 to 12 helicopters in every level. Not only does using bullets to shoot the helicopters burn through your ammo even faster than normal, but because the game never takes a break in spawning in new enemies, there are always about 3 ground enemies that you have to shoot while you're shooting at the helicopter. And if you do use bullets to shoot down the helicopter will have ample opportunity to shoot you because it takes so much gunfire to bring down the chopper. You can either shoot the foot soldiers or you can shoot the helicopter. Whichever one you're not shooting at still hurts you. And here's the perfect example of this game never giving you a break. As soon as you shoot down one helicopter, another one spawns in immediately. And after you destroy that one, another immediately spawns in. And they just keep coming. Put simply, this game makes it impossible to avoid taking damage. At the end of the first level, you destroy the enemy's communication system, and then you move on to the next level, where you'll be mortified to learn that the game doesn't replenish your health or your ammunition in between levels. Your health gets replenished if you beat the village stage, and your ammunition gets maxed out after you beat the weapons cache stage, but other than that, you're on your own. You have to scavenge health and ammo from the levels themselves. Whatever you do, don't shoot the civilians or nurses. Shooting unarmed civilians causes you to take a huge chunk of damage, and since the game only replenishes your health one time outside of finding health power-ups, health is something that you can never get enough of in this game. What sucks is that civilians run through your field of fire all the damn time! Sometimes when you try to shoot an enemy at the edge of the screen, a civilian will run into the screen too quickly for you to react, and you'll shoot him on accident. What is wrong with you people? Stop running into the gunfire! Move, bitch! Get out the way! What's worse is that a good chunk of the enemies are programmed to move in front of or behind a fleeing civilian. A few pixels off with your aim and you screw yourself. How in the hell are you supposed to be that accurate if you're using the light gun? The civilians also die and cause you to take damage if they're near a vehicle when you shoot a grenade at it, forcing you to put off shooting at the armored vehicle that's cutting you to shreds until the dumbass civilian gets out of the way. It's like this game is going out of its way to be an asshole! The game tells you that there are 6 stages, but there's actually 7, because at a completely random point in between stages, you'll get jumped by a group of foot soldiers. The instruction manual doesn't tell you that, by the way. There's one other major thing that the manual doesn't tell you that bugs the hell out of me. In case you hadn't noticed by now, this game is really freaking hard, and I die a lot while playing it. The first time that I played the game, I got 1 continue. The second time that I died, the game was over. Another time that I played, I was allowed to continue 3 times before getting a game over. Why? I don't know! The manual doesn't say anything about getting continues. It was while I was scouring the manual for hints that I found something truly disturbing. This game has 4 levels. The 6 stages that are listed when you start up the game, those stages make up the first level. There are 3 more identical levels after this that actually increase in difficulty. Are you freaking kidding me? You're telling me that this is the easy mode? I can't get past the first and easiest level of the game! In desperation, I checked online to try and find some cheats for this game, because every time that I try to play it, I get my ass kicked. I went to GameFAQs and I found invincibility, infinite ammo, and level select cheats for a Game Genie, which doesn't do me any good on the Virtual Console. In an interesting twist, the GameFAQs walkthrough also straight up tells you to not even attempt to play the game unless you've got the light gun. Why? Because the author of the walkthrough feels that the game is far too difficult to complete without the light gun's speed and accuracy. Gee, thanks. That would have been nice to know before I wasted $5 on this piece of crap. The only useful thing that the walkthrough told me was the deal with the game's continues. You're allowed to die once in each stage. If you die twice in one stage, the game is over. But here's the catch. If you die during the prison or airport stages, which is where you rescue the hostages, you're not allowed to continue. The game just ends immediately. What the hell kind of sense does that make? You get 1 continue in every stage except for the 2 most difficult ones? That's bullcrap! In the 5th and 6th stages, you have to rescue the 5 hostages. Of course, the hostages march very slowly across the screen, and if all 5 of them die, you get a game over. Since the hostages are also considered as civilians, shooting a hostage or allowing one to die causes you to lose a crap ton of health and die anyway. The prison stage is 2 stages after the village stage, so the health boost that you got is long gone by this point. The prison and airport levels also have a punishingly high number of helicopters in each of them. Long story short, I die. Everybody dies. I can't get past both the prison and airport levels without dying, which wouldn't be a problem if the game didn't take away your continues during the 2 hardest stages. I read that you get to see a message from the president if you manage to beat a level, but I tried my best. I can't beat this first level. Operation Wolf is one of those games that just completely and utterly defeated me. The game is way too difficult for its own good, and playing it is a lot more stressful than fun in my opinion. Maybe if you have it on the actual NES and you play it with the light gun, it's more fun, but that doesn't fix my main issue with this game. If the game can be played with either the controller or the light gun, then why in God's name is the game designed to be nigh unplayable without the light gun? That doesn't make any sense! I suppose that they allow you to use the controller so that you can still play the game if you don't have the light gun or if your light gun doesn't work anymore, but why would anybody want to play a gallery shooting game without the light gun? Could you imagine playing Duck Hunt without a light gun? Could you imagine shooting down those ducks using a cursor aimed with the NES controller's stiff as hell control pad? I can. It would fucking suck! Screw accessibility. Just put a sticker on the game that says, "Do not buy unless you have a light gun, you shithead." That way people would know not to waste money on your game unless they can play it properly. In case I haven't made my point abundantly clear, screw Operation Wolf and screw the nitwit that put it on the Virtual Console. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go back to playing licensed games because if I'm gonna play some crap, I might as well play crap that I have an attachment to.